scalp of the season.
My scalp.
Did you have a scalp? Our biggest scalp, we beat Liverpool at Anfield. It's been saving that one.
Pick that up and smoke that down your drain, big dog. You're the clown, you're Krusty the Clown, and I'm it in the horror movie. Eat it, Matt. Just when you think we're out, they pull us back in. Okay, we've got Nottingham Forest, Scotland branch, and Paul, who seems to have enjoyed some wonderful away trips this year. We've got NFFC Ohio, huge turnout at Combustion Brewery for the game. NFFC San Diego, run by one of the longest listeners of this podcast, Jackson, started their first ever meetup recently, and they had a huge turnout for West Ham this weekend as well. NFFC Bay Area watching the game at Mad Dog in the fog, and we've got Souls Hodge reached out looking for somewhere to watch the game in Busan, South Korea. So if anyone can find somewhere in South Korea to watch the game, I know Jordan Thielen told me somewhere in Seoul, but in Busan, if there's somewhere, let us know. Dwayne, who does the Ole Miss Rolling In fanzine, issue 21 available this weekend. Please get it. And a big shout out to Paul, who is a Forest fan based in West Cork, and he does Separated by Water podcast. Check that out. Lots of people to shout out here. But without further ado, last time Matt and I were together was absolute mayhem. So we've brought Will in to mediate us today. Will, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, cheers. Yeah, happy to be a mediator for you two, for your troubles behind the scenes.
The existential, dysfunctional coupling. I feel bad.
You described it, Chris, the other day as like Oasis, and you're Noel and Liam, and I'm Bonehead.
Back for the reunion tour. You're in the middle, just calm, cool, and collected.
Will, are you going to that?
I'm Liam, giving it all that.
I wish. I tried to get tickets, but yeah, like most people, I was left high and dry, unfortunately. So yeah, not for me.
I got so lucky yesterday. I didn't get tickets, but then 2 came through yesterday via a
for Oasis
competition thing. Yeah, I'm going to Wembley the end of July.
Oh wow!
I'm won 2 tickets.
That's unbelievable. The fact that you won tickets. Yeah, I'm off to Croke Park, so in Dublin, so it'll be class. Right, let's get into Forest. Let's talk about Forest. Will, obviously
you got to roll with it.
Yeah, you got to take your time. But you got to say what you say.
Don't keep going.
Anybody get in your way? Okay. Will, I have to say, you and I were chatting about this. Obviously, the last few weeks were a bit disappointing, and then the Leicester game was really disappointing. But then this weekend, that West Ham win has put a bit of a different sheen on the season, or the end of season for me, because it puts us back in contention to potentially get a Champions League place. It puts us in contention to have the Europa League in our hands against Chelsea, and then obviously we've already got Conference League, so we're kind of in bonus territory at the moment, Will, this weekend, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. In many ways, I mean, you can only look at where you were the week before and compare to that, and it was desolation when we drew at Leicester. As football fans, you just swing from one emotion to the next, and now beat Sheffield Wednesday, beat West Ham, and it's all like positive again, and it almost feels like if we get a Champions League, it's just a massive bonus for us. It's important. Like, I know that we were, we were in top 3 for ages. It's important that we don't look back in anger. And
there he is.
Continue to just push on. And it's just one more game, and it's the big one, and it just like it all hinges on this. We're at home, just make the crowd amazing, and what will be will be.
Let me just go through really quickly. I know Matt probably find this boring, but I rang. The best thing was Matt was in Cannes recently, and I rang Matt, and I sent a voice note because I was so happy we beat West Ham. I was like, "We're back in it, baby. We're not done yet." And Matt sends me a voice note, like really calmly, going, "What are you talking about? Everything's over, isn't it? It was already over." And I'm going, "Hang on, no, it's not." And this is the reason why it's not, Matt, because Champions League 3rd to 5th place. We get that if Forest beat Chelsea and if Newcastle fail to beat Everton or Aston Villa fail to beat Man United. Europa League, we get that if we just beat Chelsea. We claim 6th and get Europa League. Europa League in 7th place, we get if we just draw with Chelsea. Chelsea then go on to win the Conference League. Or if Newcastle at least draw against Everton, Aston Villa beat Man United, and Chelsea beat Real Betis. And then, we're back to just Conference League 7th if we lose, obviously, at the weekend. So it does feel like kind of bonus territory for us.
And if Chelsea don't win the Conference League.
Yeah, if we yeah, sorry.
If we lose this weekend and Chelsea don't win the Conference League, then we're
no. If we lose this weekend, then Chelsea will finish top 5, and therefore they won't finish 6th. And regardless of the Conference League, we're finishing Conference League anyway, even if Chelsea win it then, because Chelsea have to finish 6th and win the Conference League for it to be a factor. But anyway, it's lots of complications. I think the positive thing is, which Matt, I think you'll enjoy this a little bit,
maybe,
is you might Brentford, Brighton, no longer Bournemouth, because Bournemouth can't get 8th after last night. But Brentford, Brighton, our fate is in their hands now. Because if we don't beat Chelsea or don't get a draw, at least from Chelsea, the 8th no longer becomes a European spot for them. So we are the Kingmakers. And as Will said to me last night, we can also make ourselves king.
We have to make ourselves king. That's all that matters. It's beat Chelsea and hope for Champions League. And then at least, like you say, we get Europa, which will be fun. But just back to Will's point at the beginning, how you have to go week by week. Collectively, our fan base's ego has had to take a hit, is what's happened here. And we're all just humbly talking ourselves out of that, really. Because we believed that we were going to get Champions League, I think. We have to admit it.
We've had to dial it down a little bit, haven't we?
We've had to rein it in. But you know, yeah. But it wouldn't just be the greatest thing for... I think one of the crazy predictions I made at the beginning of the season was that we'd win the league on the last day against Chelsea by a Danilo goal. Imagine if it's that.
Win the league. Surely not.
Yeah. But imagine if that's what we have that gets us and winds up getting us Champions League. That would be a pretty ruthless, red hot take many months ago.
I definitely. And I think you're right. Look, I think about 6 or 7 games ago, the Everton game for me was the one where I went, oh no. I was at that game, and it was the one where I went, last minute. I was like, I was so upset. And I kind of felt, a guy next to me went, I think that's Champions League done. And I went, oh no. And I kind of felt like it was on its way out. And then obviously we bounced back and beat Spurs, and I was ringing Matt going, we can do this. But I think for me, once we lost that kind of cushion, that was the thing. I always wanted a cushion going into the last 2 games, because I just knew there was no way that we would, if we were in the position still going into the last day, I'd be really concerned. I was telling Matt I'd be downstairs with a bottle of whiskey, just drowning my sorrows, preparing for.
You said something more ruthless than that, but yeah.
Yeah, I said something a little more ruthless than that, but I just want to be
it might be
careful
a bit overly
about my...
might be sensitive to.
Yeah.
Said I'd be downstairs with a bottle and a. I won't say.
No, you don't need to. You just stop. Anyway, my point is, now, I think for me, and it's different for everyone, Matt has had his feelings. Matt was over chatting to a Leicester fan friend of ours in Cannes, and I actually spoke to that same guy, Chris Greenhill, who's been on the podcast before. And what Greenhill said to me after the game, he made me feel really good after the Leicester game. He goes, Chris, we were in top 4 every day of the season until the final day, and we dropped out in the last day. And I remember, and he goes, don't fear this, don't worry about it. He was a Leicester fan telling me he wanted Forest to do it. And it was funny that he said that to me. It made me feel better. But then obviously I still felt bad. And obviously Palace beat Man City. And obviously that means Conference League. And then it becomes something else. But after Sunday, I was ecstatic, because Friday night, Chelsea and Villa do the job against Spurs and Man United. And it comes into Saturday, City lose to Palace. And all of a sudden, we're sitting in 7th Conference League, and the pressure's on, and we beat West Ham. We got the job done, and I was absolutely delighted with it. I thought the players did really well. They did it for Taiwo as well, held up his jersey. Fans were amazing.
If Forest hadn't won, though...
I think I would have come on here.
If the season.
If we hadn't beat West Ham on Sunday, I, for once, would have just released the veil of positivity, sat here in front of you and gone, Matt,
we've choked.
That's a lot of crap. That's a lot of crap, because that would have been 1 win in 7. But now it's only 1 loss in 5, and the narrative flips a little bit. And you look at Aston Villa, and they've gone on a title contending run. They can't stop winning. It's the greatest form they've ever had in the Premier League. And guess what, Matt? Villa might not even finish in the top 5 now. So that's I mean, but look, that's near here. What were we going to say, Matt? Go ahead.
I want to know what you guys think about all these circulating, whether they're rumors or bits of info about Nuno going. Isn't that mad? Go on, Will.
Can't see it happening. I think it's probably born out of the fact that Marinakis came on the pitch, and a lot of people just assumed that he was having a go at Nuno didn't seem to be that. And I reckon people have just thought, I know, he's performed well. He's got manager of the season. He's too good for Forest. That's what people are looking at. And then it's an obvious leap to go, well, where's he going to go? I don't think anyone's going to take him from this league. I don't think he wants to go. So I don't see it's happening.
It would be insane, wouldn't it? It would be.
Also, like, he's got us into Europe. Surely he wants to be part of that journey. He wants to enjoy Europe with these players that he's built a relationship with. I can't imagine.
I was going to say, surely from Marinakis' point of view, it's the most sensible thing to keep, because of, unless there's been some sort of fallout in the ranks, which I don't think there has, but you wouldn't want to replace him with another manager for Europe.
No.
Because
a lot of people say that Marinakis is a bit like gung-ho with managers, but I've not really seen that. You know, like he stuck with Steve Cooper when a lot of people would have sacked him like longer than perhaps we maybe should have done. Same with Sabri. You know,
everyone, because of Fowler's era where it was gung-ho, there was a bit of a label attached to Forest like there is to Watford now, even though we're nowhere near as bad as Watford. But what people in the wider media probably fail to understand is that Marinakis wasn't the owner back then. He sort of inherited the club in the sort of
in the chaos.
Post O'Driscoll and all that.
He's been very reasonable with nearly all the managers that come through the door. I mean, I know that Chris will have an issue with Martin O'Neill's sackage because he always harps back. But apart from that, I don't really think that he's been short with any manager. Particularly, he's always given them a fair crack of the whip. So I don't think Nuno's going anywhere. I think we're going to have a lovely pre-season, and it's all going to be good again.
It's easy bait as well, isn't it, for the media? It's just the same old stuff. Oh, he was on the pitch last week. All of a sudden, we'll make an excuse to drum up some stuff. And look, even if there is rumours that Roma might try and pinch him, or rumours that Nuno might be. There's always going to be rumours about coaches coming and going, right? It's like just before the Liverpool game, they leaked the thing about Murillo leaving for Liverpool in January. Just before the City semi-final, they leaked the thing about Morgan Gibbs-White, and now just before the biggest game of our season and Chelsea season, this is leaked. And Nuno's smart enough, calm and cool and collect enough to not buy into that stuff. People love talking about Nottingham Forest at the moment. We're the big talking point. We do things differently, and we are the biggest shock of the season, and they just love doing it. And I don't think Nuno's gone anywhere either. And I think it's just typical poor taste media to do it before our biggest game when we're the underdogs.
I do love that Liverpool have won the league and haven't been the talk of the town for ages. So like
they don't like that. I can.
So boring, isn't it?
Yeah. They would have rather win the league in a different way. They'll all go, oh no, but it's great, isn't it? Like we can keep doing the parade. The parade's over, guys. We've moved on.
Liverpool won the league, and everyone's like, yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
because everyone else is no credit.
Do you know what the thing is that gets me excited, and this is why I'm trying to I'm really excited for this weekend, is because we are now part of probably the greatest chase for European football that's seen in Premier League. Now, I'm sure other people bring up other ones of other years, but I've never seen a table like this going into the final day. I've never seen Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa all on 66 points, Forest on 65, City now on 68. They've probably done it. But what I'm saying is, it's just really exciting. And the fact that Forest played Chelsea the last day of the season as well.
Yeah, but do you remember over the months, people have said, oh, Forest, Chelsea, and say that could be a big one. And part of our collective ego, I think, as a fan base, we're the only ones that were sort of going, we'll have it to bed by then. I remember people literally talked about either wanting it, going, I hope we're confirmed by then, so we're not stressed. Loads of people were saying that until Everton, Brentford, and Leicester.
Yeah.
And now suddenly we're going.
Yeah, I was thinking it'll be like Palace away on the final day of the first season. Just a massive party.
Yeah,
of course. No. Of course, we thought that, but in reality,
Chelsea are going to be desperate to win it as well.
Yeah, they're going to be. Yeah, but they're under pressure. We're not under pressure because no one's expecting us to do anything.
But they're probably enjoying the fact that the media is all a bit like, "Oh, can Forest do it?" And it's at the City ground and all this because they can quietly just maintain their authority. They've probably got superior players. We've got to be so careful not to get too excited. We need to go in as underdogs with everyone expecting Chelsea to win. and just turn up.
But hang on, Matt. We are underdogs. So if you want to, let's talk about Chelsea.
No, I'm talking about in terms of the sort of
yeah. No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about
mood in the room.
Yeah,
the room the size of the UK.
It's like winner takes all. So it's a massive. It is like a cup final in that regard.
Yeah,
but it's not winner takes all. Because it's not. Let me finish why. Because I was talking to my mate who's a Man United fan, right? And he made a really good point. He said the Europa League game tonight, which I think United will win because Spurs just don't know how to turn up in finals. That Europa League final is a winner takes all. It's literally whoever wins that is in the Champions League. If Forest win against Chelsea, we definitely take the Europa League. But in reality, let's be honest. Do you think Villa will
We believe, but you don't know. The point is we're
no. What I'm saying is, it isn't
one of three teams to not win. There's quite a good chance.
Look, two teams, Matt.
If we win, you might get Champions League, but we'd definitely get Europa. If Chelsea win, they definitely get Champions League. There's an incentive for both teams. They're taking it all. That's what we're looking at. Like neither of us want a draw.
Well, I'll actually.
No, you don't want to draw.
No, I don't want to draw. I don't want to draw. But I want. Of course, I don't want to draw. If we win, we get Europa League guaranteed and a chance of getting Champions League. Of course, I want to win.
But Chelsea
what I'm saying is,
it'll be
Chelsea drawing is worse for them than it is for us.
Yeah, but
because if Chelsea draw,
still terrible for us.
But my point is,
we can still get Europa League if we draw though, because then
Chris, let me say it.
The point is that both teams won't want a draw, so it'll be, if it's 1-1 in the 80th minute, it's just going to be like insane basketball style football
which is class.
Both teams can't settle for a draw.
Yeah,
it's great. We're good at counter attacking, so that's quite positive for us. But it's also, that's what I mean. Like it's both teams are just going to go out to try and win the game, and that's going to be exciting.
But they've got Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
but
true.
They're missing Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, but Cole Palmer's way more of a threat than Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
Way more of a threat.
It hasn't been for months, though.
Yeah, but we could have handled Nick Jackson. Milenkovic and Murillo are well practiced at dealing with these big number 9s and all that. It's the skillful attacking midfielders and wingers that just...
Yeah, it's the Jadon Sancho off the bench. It's the Pedro Neto. Yeah. It's that kind of legs late in the game that's terrifying.
Exactly. Madueke or someone, is he injured at the minute?
No, he played last time out, didn't he?
We got
two chances. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have?
Well,
no, it's a rhetorical question. I'll answer it for you. We have Matt Sells, who's going to be keeper of the year. We have Murillo, who could go for in excess of 100 million.
Matt Sells is partly keeper.
Shut your mouth and let me speak. We've Matt Sells, who's going to be goalkeeper of the year. He's on joint clean sheets with David Raya going into the final day. All right. Milenkovic is going to be one of the centre backs of the year. Everyone's talking about him. Okay. We've got every single chance of winning the game. We've got every single chance of winning the game. We've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who has stepped up lately in the last two games.
He got one goal.
No, he got a goal and assist against Leicester as well, and he got
bigger picture, Chris.
The goal there for Preston the other day. Bigger picture is that you can talk about Chelsea all you want, mate. They shouldn't be where they are, and we shouldn't be where we are, but we are where we are, and we're in a fight, and we can take their vengeance from them and turn it back on themselves. So you can talk to me about Cole Palmer. Yeah, he's a class player. They've spent over £1 billion. Over £1 billion. They're £1 billion squad coming to the City Ground, and it's going to be a cauldron, and we are going to go after them. We've got Chris Wood, who's on 20 goals. Don't see any of their strikers on 20 goals. Do you, Matt? No.
I hope it is a cauldron.
I hope you can hope whatever you want, Matt, but you're talking to me about Chelsea players and how well they've done. Actually, this is bonus territory for us because before Sunday, I thought we were just Conference League and that's it. Now we have a chance to get Europa League and now we have a chance to get Champions League and it's bonus territory and the pressure is all on them. And 3 days later, they have a final. Did you forget that one too? And I'll tell you what else you might have forgot. This might be the last game some of the players play for Forest. So they'll put in a big shift. Players like Morgan Gibbs-White might be gone in the summer. So they'll put in a big shift. So Matt, I'm not going to sit down and listen to your dreary absolute crap. We are the Kingmakers. Nuno is king. He's not going anywhere. You can take this down whatever way you want to do it, but I'm not going to do it today. I'm excited about the weekend. If you don't want to watch the game, you don't have to watch the game. You don't have to watch, but I'll be watching the game. And you know what makes me sick? I need Man United to do us a favor.
That's hilarious. I mean, I don't know where you invent half your nonsense from. I'm merely saying other things. But yeah, Man United winning is something that we all need to happen. I really hope they do it for us because if they were playing us on the last day, they'd probably win.
Yeah, they would. This is the problem. And I think I just hope that after their terrible season, they'll put a silver lining on a really dark cloud, as Gary Neville said, tonight when they win. But their terrible season, I hope that those fans who go to those home games and spend money, because for the United fans, they're always there. I hope they're like, it's the last home game of the season, guys. Let's send these guys off, and they'll have the trophy with them and everything. And I just hope, if they win, I think they will. But I just hope they can just do it for us. And do you know what? Even if they do it for us, there's no guarantees that we manage to win our game, of course. But yeah, it's absolutely devastating that we have to rely on Man United on the last day.
Can I ask you both a question that's a little bit more, bit more, I don't know. What's your biggest disappointment from this year in terms of like what you'd hoped for? We're always picking red hot takes. Like what? I guess mine is Taiwo. I wanted to see him become a bit of a Forest icon again, and now it's just ended in heartbreak, genuine heartbreak. What about you, Will?
It's hard to beat that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it can be the same. It can be the same. I guess that's the point. Is do you reckon that's the worst kind of part of this? Trying to work out what the biggest hope was that was met with the disappointing opposite.
I don't know. I think Taiwo will be back next season, and I think he's still got a part to play at Forest.
You don't think what about? There's so much noise about it really being the end of his career with us.
Why?
That's good to hit. No, I don't know. I'd be well excited for him to stay. I want him to be.
I don't know how long it takes to recover, but I don't think it's a career-ending injury.
No, I mean he'll be leaving. No. I don't mean the injury ends his career. I mean
leaving. I don't think he will. Forest. I don't think he's going to leave. Yeah, I think he's going to stick with us.
I think he stays. I think he stays for the preseason of the summer. Obviously, his long road to recovery, but I think he stays and comes back.
When's he on contract till?
I don't know. Next a year.
He signed a 4 or 5 year contract.
Really, for some reason, see him being a Forest striker. If we're in either the lower European league, Europa or conference,
we're going to need the bigger squad, aren't we? So I'd be surprised if he might get sold, but also like. I don't know how long it takes to recover from that surgery, but I don't know what the rules are regarding fitness tests and things like that. So
sounds like there's some like internal healing that has to happen.
Probably, yeah. So I don't know essentially, but I think he'll at least start the season for us, still as a Forest player.
Well, there's a bit of hope. I didn't realize that there was any hope of that. That's quite cool to know.
Speaking of which, I
believe everything the media tells you.
Yeah. I was obviously Taiwo.
Unless it's on this platform.
We are not.
We only talk absolute truth 100% of the time.
Obviously,
and utter expert research.
Yeah,
and,
based on nothing from me, by the way. But yeah, just a hunch.
Obviously, we were like the Taiwo stuff happened last week, and everyone sort of galvanized a bit through disappointment of footballing stuff. But then obviously the Taiwo stuff was really horrendous. But it looks like he's recovered now and like absolute legend. I was going to ask Will and you this, Matt. What is your favorite Taiwo moment in a Forest jersey? If you had to pick one, because there's a few. He's actually had a few big moments for Forest. What would be your number one favorite? Will?
There are a few. It's difficult to give an answer without mentioning all of the good bits. But I don't
want to say the Arsenal game last year that kept us up, or the first year, sorry.
2 years ago, yeah. Well, you go first.
You sort of beat me to it there. I had the West Ham goal when we were back in the Premier League.
First Premier League goal for us, yeah.
But for me, I think it was the game against Southampton where he scored 2. Especially that first goal.
Oh yeah.
Where Brennan squares it and he just smashes it in first time, like just hammers it at the keeper, and it's too powerful when it goes in. But yeah, scoring 2 goals in a game of that magnitude, when he was on form as well, and he was just hitting the back of the net with regularity. That Southampton game was the one for me.
What about the you know what never gets picked up? Well, I've said the Arsenal one, haven't I? And it was stands out. Can I just say? Can I tell you my one? Can I tell you my one? Sit behind the dugouts. I think it was that first.
Can I tell you my one or not?
No, we'll do without. You know when we used to sit. Go on, Chris. Go on. When I sit behind the dugouts, I wanted to ask you both. There was a game.
My favorite Taiwo moment is the 2 against Chelsea when we drew at the Bridge, and I know it was only a draw, but it was that, you know, the first header he got up for against ahead of the keeper, and then the second one, Mangala put it back in, and he just boom, nodded it down, and he went over to the away fans, and they were going mad, and I remember thinking, we're going to do this. We are going to stay up, because in Stamford Bridge, we've gone 2-1 down, and this guy will not let us fail. And that's my favourite Taiwo moment. Matt, what were you saying about the dugout and all that other nonsense?
There was a game I watched. I can't remember who we were playing against, but it was kind of when Taiwo had gone out. You know, at the beginning of that first few injury stints he had, that people talk about he got brought back too early and things like that. But he was in his pomp. Brennan Johnson was on the right. I was at home. We were at home in an evening match, and Taiwo Awoniyi was put on the left wing. And I remember watching him storming up and down. It was a similar time to that Southampton away game when we wore yellow. Who are we playing? But I remember thinking that day, he's great on the left wing. He is. His strength running up and down the wing was incredible to watch. I don't know. It just hit me, and it was never really talked about. But Cooper was still in charge. And I always wondered, why does he never get another shout out for that role? Because there was a whiff of people talking about how well he did.
He's not a winger. He doesn't. Wingers need to be fairly good with their feet, and he's great at bringing the ball down as a number 9, and he's not a winger. But I think I know the game you're talking about. It was somewhere in January.
Something about his pace and strength, though. He just battered everyone out of the way.
Yeah,
on the
he might have.
Leeds, maybe our first year up. It was a daytime game.
He's definitely not a winger, and that's why it's never been talked about. Because it's just Callum Hudson-Odoi is a winger because he's technically brilliant and quite quick. Elanga is a winger because he's very, very quick. Taiwo is a number 9. Like that's.
I just remember watching him being blown away, like live in the flesh. Like bloody, it looked different to having sat there all the time watching our wingers. Something big and strong about it. I was like, why is that never? Even though
he's not the right tool. Like he's the sledgehammer, and on the wing you want some sort of surgical precision.
Right.
Yeah.
you want the sledgehammer down the middle, smash it up, and then you can put it into little pieces. I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry to move this on, guys. I know I'm cutting you off. I just because time wise, I'm in a hotel room, and I know I have to.
Good to see you're learning the skills of hosting 5 years into doing this.
We're not gonna descend into arguing like we did last time. Okay. Obviously, there's a review corner.
I love how personally so many people in the comments take it when I say stuff like that.
Well, do you know what I take personally? I'll just take personally every time I'm on this podcast. You just try and drag me and it down, and I'm not going to get into it right now. I'm just going to leave it at that. And we're going to move on. Will, do you want to go to the predictions from the beginning of the season that we did and list them? Just try and do them as quick as you can, because otherwise we'll be here forever. But we all did a prediction of like most disappointing player, best signing, best biggest scalp and stuff, and just read out each of ours and see what we said.
I'm gonna have to do a bit of scrolling on phones because I haven't had a chance to write them all down. But yeah,
sure, yeah.
First one was finishing position.
Position, okay.
I think we all went 14th on that one. We did. We also had 14th finishing position. So, understandably, I don't think anyone's got the finishing position right. I'd be surprised. So.
Well, we thought we would have been higher than that. Lower than that. Sorry, I think we were being optimistic with 14th at the time. But amazing.
Did none of us say 8th? Why do I feel like we said 8th?
No one said 8th. No one said 8th. But anyway, next, Will.
Where we're getting the FA Cup, Matt, and the League Cup. Matt said the League Cup semis and the FA Cup quarterfinals.
Oh, I nearly got I got the wrong way around.
There, didn't you? I said 4th round of the FA Cup and quarters of the. I was all wrong as well. And then that was Chris that said that. Sorry, I said quarters for the FA Cup and quarters for the league. So nowhere near on all of those really, to be honest. So we're not off to a good start. Which sort of tallies with the podcast league thing that we've been part of, where we're all doing dreadfully and we're like relegation zone.
I can stand by all the podcast predictions that I've made of those things. But we'll do that in the last episode. But I can stand by every single one of them.
I don't think you can stand by it when you get them wrong.
Yeah.
No, but I can explain. I can
explain why it still makes sense to get it wrong in the way I got it wrong.
No, because
it's more important than getting it right. If you know why I did it.
Listen, Matt, I can explain why, because ultimately my pathway is still let us close to my final total. It's just things like I predicted
to draw at home, the right number.
Win at home to Arsenal.
Doesn't matter about the detail.
Shut up, Matt. We'll carry on. Carry on.
Points accrued. Matt said 45. I mean, we're not going to be anywhere near this again. I said 44. No, you said 44, and I said 42. So
I was the closest.
Yeah, well, yeah. You were the most optimistic. I think we
There you
said
go,
that
Chris.
at the time that Matt was the most optimistic.
Okay, well done, Matt. You were the closest. 20 points off. Well done. Well done, you.
Yeah.
Come on, Will.
Top scorer. I had Wood with 12 goals. I thought that was optimistic. Chris, you've gone new striker, 14 goals.
That's embarrassing.
You're probably hoping Nketiah was going to.
We didn't even sign a new striker in January.
A new striker.
New striker.
What did you say, Matt?
He said Hudson-Odoi, 11 goals.
Oof.
Well, he's not. Oof. What did Hudson-Odoi get? How many goals he got? 6 or 7?
Not many. No, I don't think it's as many as 6 or 7. Yeah, about
not too bad. Next
it's
up.
Not great. Best player. Who we said? Let's have a look. I've gone Morgan, Gibbs, White. So have you, Chris. And boringly enough, so has Matt.
Oh.
Has he been our best player? He probably.
No, he hasn't been. He hasn't been our best player. I think our best player this season. I mean, we'll do that in the last episode after the season's done. But it definitely our best player. There's 3 or 4 other candidates for that, I think. Anyway, carry on, Matt. Will.
Best signing. Matt said Milenkovic. I think we all said Milenkovic for this. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. So we've got one right.
We got it. We got one right.
I think Milenkovic has been the best signing by a distance. Yeah. What else have we got? Worst signing. I've gone for Miguel, Carlos Miguel.
You're not far off. You're right, I think, aren't you?
Yeah. Worst signing. You've sat on the fence here, Chris, and you said one of Sosa or Jota Silva. So you got 2 there. Giving yourself 2 and you still got it wrong.
Why is Matt shaking his head?
What did I say, Will?
You said what
did Matt say?
well.
Oh, Chris, you're talking over. Say again, Will.
You said Carlos Miguel as well. So
yes.
I think we can comfortably say that Carlos Miguel has been poor.
Jota's been brilliant for what he's done. Sosa's been really harshly treated, and when he's come on, he's looked lively. Definitely not the worst signing.
Stop trying to make
definitely not the worst signing.
But stop trying to make my prediction sound bad, Matt. Just get on with it. Right, go on, Will.
Okay, sorry. Best defender. This is an interesting one because I'll be honest with you, I don't really know who the best defender has been. It's been bloody close out of 4 of them, hasn't it?
You know what? I don't think it's Aina.
I think it might be Aina.
Really? I think he's. Go on. We'll talk about that in a sec. Who did we say?
I said Nico would be the best defender.
He's up there.
Chris said Milenkovic, and you said Aina. Matt said Aina.
I said Aina.
I'm right.
Yeah,
no. I think Will's right that it might be Aina. I think Will's right. It might be Aina.
No, hang on. Let me speak now because we're going to talk over each other. Matt, you just said a second ago, I don't think it's been Aina. And then you realize that your prediction was Aina and you're backtracking on yourself. The truth is, we all think it's probably Milenkovic Murillo, and Uncle Chris, good old Uncle Chris, has got it right. Next.
No. I'm going to say Nico Williams.
Yeah, I don't think it's Nico just because he hadn't played as much as the other 3. Because he was fighting out with Moreno for a while, wasn't he? So
next Will.
All right, yeah. Inconclusive that one. Let's leave it there.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It is inconclusive because so many people would say Aina.
Yeah, I'd say Aina.
Sorry, can I please?
Best right back in the league.
Yeah, he's the best right back in the league, and I called it, Chris. I called it at the beginning. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to football.
Can I? Will, can I just say?
We've got to move on. Sorry, midfielder. I've said Sangare. Best midfielder in the Chris has said Sangare as well, and we've all said Sangare.
Matt thought he had me.
I thought I had said Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, no one would have said Elliot Anderson. In fairness, though, Elliot Anderson is not a bad shout for best signing. But I think it is Milenkovic, to be fair, from the impact. But yeah, so I think we're all out. But then Sangare got injured. He could have been the best midfielder based on the last 3 games.
Yeah,
you could argue that he's made a case, but he isn't the best midfielder this season. Best forward, I've gone Cho. Chris has gone one of Jota Silva or Sosa. One fails, one becomes sublime. That's Chris's words, not mine. And Matt, you've gone Cho as well. I think it's Elanga, really, isn't it?
It's Elanga or Wood, isn't it?
Wood. Yeah, it's got to be Wood, really. Let's be honest. Like 20 goals, clinical.
20 goals, but Elanga has been Awesome, man.
Can I just say one thing, right?
Well, which one was sublime and which one was a failure?
No, I won't stand under the rug. I said one of them would be our best signing, one of them would be our most disappointing signing, and I was wrong about both those things. I did try and fence it, and I accept that. But we're not going to overlook the fact that Matt initially said in the defensive thing there a few minutes ago, Aina's not been the best defender, and then all of a sudden,
you don't need to repeat it. He was the one that he was.
Nah,
we've moved on.
It's just annoying. It's just annoying. You're a snake.
I've snaked a few points because I also got closest to the points tally as well. Even though I was way off, I was close.
No, you didn't. So I got no. Actually, you didn't. I did.
No, you didn't. You went low.
Will that at the end? No. And in the pathway, I got the closest. Next, Will.
We're not doing pathway.
Moving on. Which keeper will play the most games? That's when it was up for debate. Really. I mean, it's obviously Sells. We all said Sells. How many clean sheets is the big question. I've said 10. Chris, you've said 7. And Matt, you said 9. So I think I've won that one. Yeah. Weirdly enough, I'm close enough. Although
you're in second place, mate. You're in second place.
Even better than 10. Yeah, I haven't been totting the scores up about who's winning these rounds as we've gone.
No, I've been keeping it up here.
Okay, that's fine then. I'll just take your word for it. Will Nuno be manager at the end of the season? We've said yes. The end of the season hasn't happened yet, but we assume yes.
Imagine if it's no.
Weirdest thing to happen. I said we'd absolutely batter a big team by 3 or 4 goals. If Brighton counts as a big team, then that's come true. It's probably not. What Matt said? No, Matt said. Chris has said Milenkovic scores 5 goals within the first 6 months.
Bang! Ooh. But no, we'll take it. No, but you have to give it to me. You have to give it to me.
You said in the first 6 months.
Yeah. And also, Chris, yours is about as right as mine because we battered Brighton and they're nearly a big club. You said
they're not nearly a big club.
They were at the beginning of the season.
Right. You nearly got it right. We both nearly.
Sorry. Can I speak? Because if we speak over each other, it'll cut each other off, okay? Because that's the way this system works. They're not nearly a big club. And Milenkovic did score 5 goals. And by Christmas, I think he had 3 goals. Like, I've gone really close.
That's not what you said.
Man.
You didn't say 3 by Christmas.
Oh, Jesus.
It's close.
So what did I say?
It's not right. Matt, you went wild. You went absolutely off piste here. Ben Brereton Diaz heads in an own goal from Forest corner when we play them. I'm guessing that's when he was at Southampton. Was that right? At the start of the season?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
that's ludicrous.
It was looking back.
It is ludicrous.
It's not great.
It is ludicrous.
That's
Matt.
ludicrous.
You are ludicrous.
That was a ludicrous thing to say. That's why we're reading them out, because it's funny.
You're a fool.
Okay, red hot
Funny
take.
Phil.
We had the red hot take, and this is
hold on. Let's please listen to this because this one's going to be really interesting. What's the red hot take? Let's go.
Okay, well, mine was would be in the top 6 by September.
Wow.
I didn't get it right because we lost to Fulham.
We were.
Out.
Oh no, we weren't. Sorry.
We weren't. Unbelievably, I didn't get that right. Painful. But if you're playing Chris's game, I was close enough to get that right. So thank you very much. What's Chris has said? A new striker comes in. You've really put a lot on this new striker. A new striker comes in and displaces both Taiwo and Wood, becoming the mainstay.
Clown.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, didn't happen. And yeah, Matt, you just put scalp of the season, Brighton at City Ground 4-0. Not far off either.
Not far off, Chris. That's as close as all yours. If you're taking yours, I'm taking that.
It's not 7 though. It's not 7, is it? It's not 7. It's not 7 now. It's 4-0.
I said it was a scalp.
To be fair,
Brighton. I said it'd be at home.
Can I say this? To be fair, I don't think Brighton is necessarily a scalp, but I will say Matt was close enough with that I would give him that. I'm being serious. That was a great shout.
Playing your rules where you give yourself points for nearly getting things right, then me and Will have just got equal to you then. For our nearly ones.
Yeah, that's
back where we started. Still me first, Will second, you third, whatever way we look at it. So,
Will, why don't you read out my scalp?
Did you have a scalp? Our biggest scalp, we beat Liverpool at Anfield. It's been saving that one.
Hit that up and smoke that down your drain, big dog. You're the clown, you're Krusty the Clown, and I'm it in the horror movie. Eat it, Matt. Is that all of them, Will? Or did you say
my biggest scalp was Man United. So Matt didn't actually really have a red hot take.
Okay, great.
But yeah,
Brilliant.
So I technically got it right. as well, because it was a big scalp, but not as big as Liverpool. So I'll happily doff my cap there to you, Chris.
Well, I think
Matt won that one though. I think overall.
Overall, I definitely took just about took away.
But you're on the podium, Chris. That's the important thing to remember.
You did. You're on the podium. You've got a bronze medal out of the 3 of us.
I'm really, really irritated, but I'm going to let it go. Look,
what we've learned is that none of us are good at this at all, predicting anything.
I think time-wise, we're ticking over, and I'm going to have to move things on. I'm going to try and be a good host, as Matt always says I'm not. I think in reality, there's a couple that were pretty big. I think our biggest scalp ones were the best because you said we'd beat Man U at Old Trafford. Will, I said we'd beat Liverpool Anfield. Matt, you said we'd hammer Brighton at home. So I think we did well there. Overall, I think Will probably won that one. I don't think Matt did. So we'll move on anyway. Look, we're coming to the back end of the podcast. Let's do our predictions for the weekend. And once we've done the predictions, then I'll just do a quick sign off and we'll get out of here. And we, before we do our predictions, I should probably say this now. This episode 199, Matt and I made an agreement before Christmas that we would eventually have to stop the weekly show. We'll obviously do bonus episodes and keep promoting Forest All Over the World content next year, and maybe a couple episodes every now and again, but we can't keep up the weekly stuff. Will, I haven't even told you this. It's probably a surprise to you, but we've been doing this for 5 years. And, we'll look back next week on the 200th episode at some fun special moments and try and offer a good end of season show. But I just want to say, thanks to everyone who's listened. We can't keep doing it weekly. I'm getting a phone call from this. I mean, the timing of that is unbelievable. Let me answer it quickly here.
I love his announcing it like.
Hello. Yeah, just packing up. Sorry.
Basically, to clarify for everyone.
Thanks so much. I can't. Hang on. I cannot believe that is just typical. So I have to leave the hotel room. But look, I just want to say basically that Matt and I are going to go out kicking and screaming like we came in on the last day. The first season was a Sabri Lamucci capitulation. Now we get to do it in a European spot race, which is amazing. And we'll do a final episode next week. We'll catch up with everyone next week. It'll be amazing. Thanks to everyone for being on. But our last weekly episode will be next week. And I was rudely interrupted with my little speech.
That's why we wanted Will on this one, I think. Because you're part of the podcast.
Yeah, because you've been part of the podcast since the beginning. We've done it for 5 years. So, look, we'll talk about it next week on our 200th episode. But let me just sign off because I do have to get out because they just phoned me. Phoned me. You're
not going to give Will a chance to respond to it.
Will, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on making 200 for next week. And yeah, well done. It'll be sad that you're not doing a weekly thing, but we'll
the space is very saturated, and we only offer a bit of an argument.
Yeah, so we'll pop up every now and again with a bonus episode in Bratislava or Munich, whichever one it ends up being. I do want to quickly ask Will, because we'll get to do this next week. Player of the season, favorite moment of the season, and goal of the season. And once we're done that, we'll get out of here. And Matt and I can do that next week.
Also, we've made so much money out of it now. We don't need to do it anymore.
Oh, shut up, Matt. Will, and
player of the season, Chris Wood, most clinical striker in Europe. Simple as that. Goal of the season, goal against Liverpool at home. Chris Wood, when we've been under the cosh for like 10 minutes, and then 1, 2, 3, Chris just nets it, and we're 1-0 up. It was just beautiful. I know we didn't win the game, but that goal was just clinical. And what was the other one?
Favorite moment of the season.
Favorite moment of the season. Christ. I mean, it's got to be beating Liverpool at Anfield. It just has to be. Right. Can't stand them.
Good. Will, thank you very much. Much appreciated. We'll sign off on that, and we will do our favorite moments and all that awards next week, and we'll have a look back on some of the podcast stuff over the last 5 years. And Matt, anything to say before we
Chelsea game?
Oh gosh, yeah, prediction for the Chelsea game. Matt, we'll start with you because you're the most negative.
I was about to say I think it's going to be 2-1 to Chelsea.
Okay, great. Will,
I think it's going to be 2-1 to Forest. I think we're going to score 2, and then we're going to concede again. With about
have a nervy last few minutes.
It's going to be the most horrible 20 minutes that you'll ever see. 10 minutes injury time, no question.
Oh.
Okay, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 2-1. I've already predicted that on one of the other podcasts. And do I think Man United will do us a favour? I doubt it, but I bloody hope so. Follow us at.
Who else do we need favours from?
On...
Who's playing Newcastle and who's playing City?
Everton without their 2 centre backs.
City are clear now. We can't chase them unless we score like 20 goals on Sunday. We're not overtaking them.
Yeah. Anyway,
did they win? They beat
off on this. I have to go, Matt. I have to go. Stop.
You're always having to go when we're trying to do the pod. You always just end it with you having to go. Can't pin you down and just do it properly. It's like you don't want to do it.
Follow us at forestallover on Instagram, and we're at NFFC all over on X. We'll have one more big final episode, weekly episode next week, and of course there'll be bonus ones next year, but the weekly ones, the last one will be next week. We'll sign off on this. Carragher and Neville on Sky both handed out their Sky Sports end of season awards. We don't usually listen to the experts, but this time we will. Biggest overachievers, Nottingham Forest, both of them said that. Biggest underachievers, Manchester United. Take care, folks.